Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today I'm just going to talk about how I feel about college football from what we saw from this week. And we're kind of looking forward into next week because there's a lot of big matchups next week, and there's a lot of stuff that happened this week that is reviewed, that needs to be reviewed. And the first thing I'm going to say is something that a lot of people aren't talking about, but they really need to, is this Georgia team looks very beatable. Georgia looks very beatable. And they almost got beat by South Carolina because they start off slow and it takes a while for them to build up. And it mainly happens because of their defense. Their defense is the thing that keeps them in a lot of games. And last game, they were not doing that to start off, and that made the offense have to do something. And also, their kicker sucks. I know he's a freshman, but he's missed 2 or 3 30-yard field goals this year, and that is unacceptable. And it's wide left, I'm pretty sure, both times. You got to focus. You got to work on that. But this team has a lot of flaws, and their main one is their consistency offensively. I know they don't have Ladd McConkey, but it does not seem. But it does. It's not like they don't have they're not filled with talent. I know AD Mitchell left. Ladd McConkey isn't there, but you have a lot of guys who are really good. Main guy Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers made so many plays that game when he got the ball, and the main part of that is when he got the ball. They're not getting the ball as much as they should because that man can make a 5-yard loss, a 5-yard play, a 1-yard gain, possibly a first down. This guy is great at what he does, driving forward, never giving up on the play, and he's just great at. He never drops a pass. Give him the ball all the time. He doesn't get the ball often. I know it's the rain. He may be able to run the ball, but hand off to him. He can outrun safeties. We saw that game. Carson Beck isn't playing bad. He's not getting it done in the red zone, though, because they're going to have to rely on the run game. That comes to another point. The run game is pretty good, but South Carolina made sure that you had to throw the ball at one point, and that also led to them only scoring 3 points in the first half. The thing that saved Georgia more than anything else is that the dude that scored the touchdown for South Carolina to start off, forgot his name, he got hurt. So they went down a player. And also some miscues for South Carolina offensively really saved them that game because that would have been a bad loss. Other thing, college football, we got to talk about is, well, I already made a Tennessee video. I'm not going to discuss Tennessee in this one. Go to the other one. That was my live reaction about what happened in that game, and it was unedited or anything. So, yeah. Other thing we got to talk about is the most talked about thing in college football. 2 of them at least. One, Alabama. Alabama's quarterback situation. They just proved to you, Tyler Buchner, Ty Simpson were backups for a reason. Ty Simpson's not a bad backup. If he got hurt, he could fill in and possibly win you a game. Tyler Buchner's not that. Tyler Buchner would lose you a game. He was atrocious on so many levels. Bama's offense is very stagnant at times, scoring 3 points for a long stretch of that game, then finally get on the board and late in the third quarter, then getting some late game points late with a minute left to go in the game. So it wasn't much, but that's terrible. Jalen Miller was going to be the starter, and the problem with this is that you're playing Ole Miss. If you're talking if I had to think of a team that is more different than what Alabama is right now offensively in the SEC, I would probably say Ole Miss. Because Ole Miss is throwing the ball pretty well. Good running back. I know Judkins missed last game, but I'm pretty sure he better be back for this one. But, if that's not the case, it might be a problem. But Ole Miss has been tested a bit and has come out on top every single time. So they got tested against Georgia Tech, beat them pretty easily. Tested against a top 25 team on the road, Tulane, who just won the AAC last year, who beat Caleb Williams and the USC in their bowl game. It might have been a Cotton Bowl, but you have that. So this team's really good, and offensively they performed pretty well. Defensively, they had that backup quarterback in Tulane, but the guy's pretty good. Got the job done there for Ole Miss, and good job for them. This is going to be a tough game. This is in Tuscaloosa, but Ole Miss has beat them before there. The last time they played there, it did not go well for Ole Miss. But that was a very different team. This team here for Ole Miss could really upset Alabama. Watch out for this. And I'm not even sure that's an upset right now because this Ole Miss team is looking just better than Alabama. That's wild to say, but Lane Kiffin's team is looking better than Nick Saban's right now. It's crazy. Next up, Colorado. A lot of hype, and it's deserved. You beat TCU on the road, destroyed Nebraska, but now you're barely beating Colorado State. It's not a good thing to see. And it wasn't the defense, and it wasn't the offense, because though Travis Hunter got hurt, and his main showing is mainly his defensive side. But if you think if Deion Sanders is your head coach, you're going to have a lot of good corners. But for a good amount of that game, that could have been the problem. Because they kept running these drag routes, which you have to follow if you're a corner, and they kept getting that to work. They had a deep play that worked. I think it was called back, but it was literally double teamed, and he threw it up 45 yards, and it was caught by Colorado State. Bad plays defensively in the secondary, and they got lucky late. Not lucky. Good drive late. Colorado State made some mistakes. Looked like an 0-1 team later down the stretch of that game. Colorado pulled through, won the game. That's what matters. Now you have to play Oregon without Travis Hunter. Oh no. I think you're playing at Oregon too. Oh no. That is not a good thing. Bo Nix is on a roll right now. This offense is a monster that does not want to be messed with. And you're going to have to outplay them. Probably have to outscore them. I'd be surprised if you can do that. But they scored very well. But Oregon is doing very, very well too. So it'll be a fun thing to watch. Another important thing that's happening in the college football world that no one is talking about. This ACC is actually looking pretty good. And it's not Clemson this year. Florida State, North Carolina, silently another good win. Another good win for North Carolina. They have beat South Carolina, who's soon to be a pretty good threat. Appalachian State, who is a threat to everyone that's in the Power 5. For some reason, they just dominate. They just make every game close. A&M. And then they beat Minnesota. Very good wins. Very good wins. Starting off 3-0. That was a very underrated start. And then you have Duke, the rival. Duke. 3-0. Looking pretty good. Really weird happening down there. And no one's talking about that. It's wild. Mississippi State got absolutely destroyed by LSU. LSU looks good. This is the team that we expected to happen this year. This is the team that we expected. And their offense is rolling. Jay Daniels is being efficient, and they're doing a very good job at that. And they play good defense, and arguably great defense. Rolled Mississippi State. That was a tough watch. I didn't even watch it after halftime. Also, quick thing, Florida State. How did you almost lose to Boston College? I watched that game. 18 penalties for Boston College, and you still almost lost? Terrible. Other thing to talk about, let's go back to the SEC real quick. I'll get to some other stuff. Actually, before I get to the SEC, a lot of close games happened this week. A lot of bad performances from teams. Talking to you, Texas. Texas, what happened? It was 10-10 heading into the fourth quarter against Wyoming. I know Wyoming beat Texas Tech, but that doesn't mean you have to lose. You wouldn't like... I think he scored 21 straight points in the fourth quarter. But still, what's going on there? What is happening? What happened there? Can't do that against his other Big 12. Can't do that against the Big 12 teams. He's got Oklahoma coming up, who's looking quite good right now. And another high-powered offense I did not mention yet, Washington. Washington was phenomenal against Michigan State. Destroyed. Talking about an underrated team right now. Washington should have jumped up in the rankings. I would have put them in the top 5. Look at what they have done. They have destroyed every team they've played. Michael Penix has played phenomenal. And they just beat Michigan State by 34 at Michigan State. And they got a bunch of deep plays to work. They arguably have the best wide receiving core in the country. This team is looking very good and solid enough defensively to be able to match teams in the Pac-12 that have great offenses that they can possibly get some key stops at other points throughout the game. Washington looks very good too. So, a good thing for Washington. Now, what I was originally going to talk about. SEC. Arkansas lost. Fair. That was expected to happen. We have like 4 undefeated teams in SEC right now. 4 or 5. I don't remember what number it is. I think, let's think. We'll come up with this together. Georgia, Auburn. That's not super surprising. Another one that's surprising. I think Kentucky's undefeated. they have a terrible, they have an easy start to the year. Kentucky, I think, who else is undefeated? Missouri. Missouri's undefeated. That is ridiculous. For Missouri to be undefeated is wild. Shout out to that kicker, the thicker kicker with a 61-yard field goal. Beautiful kick. Would have been good from 65, it looked like. Beat Kansas State. I don't know why they're not in the top 25. I really don't know what they have to do to be able to be ranked in the top 25. Outside of like go out and beat, I don't even know. LSU is coming up like in week 6, week 7 for them. They play Vanderbilt pretty soon. And if they beat them, they're 4-0. And then they have a pretty easy one after that. I think they could be 5-0 starting this year. Is Missouri back? What is this world that we live in? That Missouri is back. Also, underrated team in the ACC, Syracuse. Syracuse is looking quite nice this year. But we said the same stuff about them last year. And then, so we have Georgia, Auburn, Missouri, Kentucky. Is that all the undefeated teams left in the SEC? It was like A&M has a loss. Mississippi State does. LSU, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas now does. Vanderbilt does. That might be all. That really might be all of it. If I think of it, I will put up whoever I'm missing because I really just don't know who. That really might be all. That's crazy. But yeah, that's my recap for the week. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe, y'all, and God bless y'all.